Hello. In this video, I'm going to analyze every champion's romantic interactions. From more popular community ships to actual marriages. I will also say why some ships are possible and why some are not. Also, remember there is a high possibility some champions have or had romances we don't know about. A beautiful examples are Jace and Victor. Both never had any women mentioned in their bios, but this wasn't the case in Arcane. So please, do realize that the things might turn completely different in the future. Now let's get into it. Based on alphabetical order. Starting with Aatrox, he is who he is, he doesn't need explanation. Ahri used to have a lover back when she was younger, however, she accidentally killed him by feeding on his life essence too much. Today, Ahri is often shipped with Yasuo because of their relationship portrayed in The Ruined King, where they share a lot of interesting moments and see the mirror in each other. As the story goes on, they learn how to move on in life and they share more and more interesting conversations. However, despite all of this, nothing is set in stone. Even though there was a lot of foreshadowing of their possible relationship, Yasuo decides to travel to Noxus completely alone, leaving with the words that maybe one day their roads will cross for one more time. Akali probably has a crush on Kayn in the original universe. When she encounters him on the Rift, she says,
"Kayn, why are the hot ones always crazy?"
This is also portrayed in the Zed comic, but nothing more isn't confirmed. In the recent Star Guardian music video, it's quite obvious she has a very close relationship with Kai'Sa. Actually, one of the ex-rioters says that the girls are in love, but don't put any value into it, since it wouldn't be the first time one of the ex-rioters said something similar just to get attention. The main problem with this is that romantic relationships are always portrayed in all the universes between the same characters, therefore, it's quite impossible for this ship to happen, unless Riot would want to give up on this rule. A possible thing hinting this, could be the fact that Rakan might be the first champion who would die for good. Nothing like that ever happened before and it would be a bold move from Riot. Perhaps they want to test out this inconsistency between the universes. Moving on. Ikshan doesn't have any lore interactions with other characters nor interactions with champions on the Rift in a romantic manner. Same goes for Alistar, definitely Amumu, Anivia and Annie. Although Aphelios is pretty much the same on it, he is often shipped with Set, but that's nothing but another silly community ship like Jhin x Nami or Zac x Riven. Will never get confirmed on 99.9%. Ashe is married to Tryndamere. Their marriage was originally done due to political reasons, to show that their nations can live in peace, but later on, their romance blossomed. No romances before this marriage are known. Aurelian Sol is an interstellar being. Azir was a husband and a father. Seaver is one of his descendants. However, there is absolutely no info about his wife or any other previous possible romances. Bard, just like Aurelian Sol, is an interstellar being. Belveth is a void being. Blitzcrank is a robot. When Brand was still a human, he fell in love with a girl called Shyvana. Unfortunately for him, she was promised to another. When his mother died, he burned down the village to exile himself and eventually met Rise. That's when he became what he is now. Braum never had anything with any girl, but he had few opportunities to sleep with Alawi in the Ruined King game. However, he somehow always avoided it. Caitlyn fell in love with V in Arcane. But since Arcane isn't 100% canon, we could technically argue this ship isn't canon as well, but I'm pretty sure one day it will be. The voice line when she dies is enough proof by itself. Also, it's quite possible that before this, she had something with other girls before, since her mother isn't so surprised when she brings V to her room. When Camille was young, she was in love with an engineer called Hakim Nadiri. However, she had to become principal intelligencer of her family, which meant she had to be altered. Hakim was the one to do the operation, so he had to change the body of someone he loved into something almost completely inhuman. After everything was done, he left, but never married any woman and always carried Camille's photo with him. Today, she protects his nephew since he is the only link to her lost lover. Cassiopeia isn't known for having anything with any man, but she likes to manipulate others thanks to her beauty. Cho'Gath doesn't have lore, plus he is a void being. Corki has no lore. Darius had lover Quilletta. They knew each other since childhood. However, she didn't like how Noxus led war against Ionia. Later on, even her son died in a fight against Freljord. All of this made turn her back against Noxus. Her city was supposed to follow her ideology, but she was betrayed and killed before the fight between the city and the Empire even occurred. Diana was in love with Leona when they were younger. We don't know how the things between the two are today, but it's possible they still have feelings for each other. Draven dates himself. And the mirrors. So he can date himself even better. Dr. Mundo most likely never loved someone. Echo is known for having crush on Jinx when they were kids. However, just like he says in one of his voice lines, he lost interest after she got crazy. In Pulsefire universe, he is shipped with Ezreal, because Ezreal said to himself he loves him. This, however, was very likely meant in a bromantic way, but let's be honest here. People like to consider every close friendship a sign of romance. This ship is nothing but another silly community ship. Will never get confirmed. Elise is married to her husband originally due to political reasons, but in one of her stories, it's mentioned that in their relationship, she is the dominant one, meaning that they probably fell in love with each other. No romances before this marriage are known. Despite her character, Evelyn is a demon. She will never love someone. And no, she doesn't have it with you before tearing you apart. She only baits you. However, in KDA universe, she is probably a normal woman and it's confirmed that she had few one-night stands with some men. Ezreal is quite a funny one. Zoe has a crush on him while he ignores her because he has a crush on Lux, who unironically doesn't know who he is. In the Star Guardian universe though, they seem to like each other, but always get separated somehow. Later on, when Warriors 2020 was released, he was shipped with Kai'Sa, because of the way he reacts in it. He had never before left an artifact behind to help someone else out. Both Kai'Sa and Ezreal mains seem to like this ship. One of the ex-rioters once even responded to this Twitter post in quite an interesting way. But then again, it was only an ex-rioter, so it doesn't count. Moving on. Fiddlesticks is a demon. Fiora could have had many different male lovers. But she always refused. Probably because of her dedication to her position in Demacia. Fizz isn't included in any romances. Galio is a statue. Gangplank used to be with Alawi, but they had to part the ways after Alawi had to fulfill her duties to Nagakaboros. He might still have feelings for her. No other woman we would know about at the moment. Everybody knows Garen and Katarina have a thing going on. No girl before he met her is mentioned. Fun fact. Riot almost made a movie about them. Nar is Nar. Gragas is too fat. Graves is supposed to be in love with Twisted Fate. However, it's kinda weird, because even though they were originally written as a couple, their relationship was always portrayed in a bromantic way rather than romantic. It's also kinda weird to make them canon after all those years. But it is what it is. No romances about Gwen, Hecarim and Heimerdinger. As mentioned before, Alawi used to love Gangplank and now has a thing for Braum. However, we can't really tell whether she only wanted one-night stand or an actual relationship. No other man is mentioned in her story. Irelia doesn't have anything romantic in her lore, but in Legends of Runeterra she has this line.
Our enemies approach. My hands are shaking.
Then hold on to mine. We'll face them together.
It's pretty much nothing, but we know how the internet is. Ivern used to be a normal human from Freljord, but there's nothing about love in his lore. Janna most likely doesn't love anyone. Jarvan almost married Lux so that she wouldn't be in danger since she is a mage. However, when Garen asked him about it, he said that he met many women, but none of them was her. By her, he meant Shyvana. The one and only Jarvan's love. Jax isn't involved in any romance, but it's mentioned the night before the battle for Icathia, soldiers had fun with girls. Whether Jax was there or not is unknown. Although Jace loves Mel in Arcane, she isn't mentioned in his lore at all, therefore she is non-existent for now. No other romances are mentioned. I can't help myself but I always viewed Jhin as aromantic asexual. Highly doubt this man would have any feelings for any woman. Jinx could have been with Echo, but that's about it. Kai'Sa never had an opportunity to love or be loved ever. However, she has been shipped with multiple champions by community quite a lot. Those are Sivir, Ahri, Ezreal and Akali. There is absolutely no point talking about Sivir or Ahri, since they are both completely random. I've already explained both Ezreal and Akali, so there is pretty much nothing else to talk about. When Callista was a human, Commander Ledros was her lover and is trying to free her soul. His strong mind and love for Callista allowed him to retain his will instead of getting lost in the black mist. It's also quite important to note that she refused him because of her dedication to her position. No other romance is known. Karma is definitely an interesting one. She doesn't love anyone and never will because of her duty. However, she is the living embodiment of an ancient soul reincarnated countless times, carrying all her accumulated memories into each new life. One no incarnation, Jackgri, had to leave his lover Watai in order to take on his duties as Karma. After his death, the collective spirit of Karma moved on to its current host, Darha. Karthus entered the Shadow Isles and became what he is now, very young. Definitely never loved anyone. We all know Kassadin as Kaisa's father, but we know nothing about his wife. No other relationships are known as well. Katarina only ever loved Garen. Kaylee isn't known for ever being with anyone. Kain has never had anything with any girl, but as already mentioned, Akali has a crush on him. Kennen definitely doesn't love anyone. Kha'Zix is a void being. Kindred is death. Kled only loves war. Kog'Maw is a void being. LeBlanc isn't known for having someone, but I think that at one point, she definitely had some men since she is very old. She also might have something with Swain, but more on that later. Lee Sin most likely never loved anyone. As already mentioned, Leona was in love with Diana, but we're not sure how things are today. Although Lilia is often shipped with Yone, there is absolutely nothing about loving anyone in her lore. Lysandra probably never loved anyone. Lucian is with Senna, we all know that. She is also probably the only one he has ever loved. Lulu only loves purple. Lux is a little bit chaotic. As already mentioned, Ezreal has crush on her, but she doesn't know him. She almost ended up in forced marriage with Jarvan, and it's possible Sylas was not just a friend for her. That's all we know so far. Malphite is a rock. Malzahar used to be a normal human, but no information about loving anyone. Maokai is a tree. Master Yi doesn't love anyone in his lore. Despite her look and character, Miss Fortune is afraid to let anyone too close to her. It is said she had few lovers, but those were probably only one-night stands. Mordekaiser never loved anyone for sure. Morgana never had anything with any man. Nami is in a polyamorous relationship with Loto and Tama. They all love each other. Nasus used to be a human, but he probably never had space to love any girl. Nautilus used to be human as well, but no girl is ever mentioned. Nico has crush on Nidalee, but it's most likely one-sided. No guy Nyla would love mentioned in her lore. Nocturne is a demon. Nunu is too young, no info about Willip loving anyone. Olaf is obsessed with glorious death. All we know about Orianna is that she felt love towards Firam due to being an automaton like her, even going as far as to attack the Watchmen due to believing they were trying to stop her from freeing him. When he turned out just to be a robot apparently following his programming, she was saddened and left feeling defeated. Ornn is a god. Atreus is a Sigma male. Poppy is busy with protecting the hammer. No info about any woman when Pike used to be human. Today he would hardly love anyone. Kiana is too arrogant. Quinn isn't known for having anything with any man. Rakan is obvious, but Zaya mentions that many girls actually wanted him.
All women desire Rakan. Like they'd know what to do with him.
No other relationships are confirmed though.
Okay.
Reksai is a void being. Although Rel has a few voice lines targeted at Echo, Seraphine, Set and Leona, there is absolutely nothing in her lore. No info on Renata's romantic relationships. Renekton is pretty much the same on it as Nasus. Rengar never had anything with any female. Riven is commonly shipped with Yasuo and Zac. I will skip Zac since there is no point talking about it. Yasuo, however, share a lot of lore with her, but we can basically say she is more of an enemy for him than anything else. She literally ruined his life and unintentionally made him kill hundreds of his own people, especially his half-brother Yone. I highly doubt Yasuo would ever have any feelings for her. In the end, it's just another community ship and I'm pretty sure it will never get confirmed. Besides these two ships, no one is mentioned to be somehow special to her in her lore. Rumble really likes Tristana. He even named his mech Tristy. Unfortunately for him though, it seems to be only one-sided. No other female Yordle is mentioned in his lore. Ryze is busy gathering runes. Samira likes to mention whom she is and isn't into. She definitely has some experience. However, no further information is given about her relationship status. No romance in Sejuani's lore. Senna is with Lucian, no other man before him is mentioned. Seraphine seems to not like anyone in the main universe, however, she has a close relationship with Ben in KDA universe. He is her co-worker in the patisserie they work in. It seems they might have feelings for each other. If they have, Ben is 100% canon in the main universe as well. Set never had any romantic relationship, but it's possible he had few one-night stands. Shaco has no lore, plus he is a demon. Shen is quite hilarious. The woman who he was engaged with, cheated on him someone. And that someone was Zed. However, that's not all. Several years later, she also cheated on her new husband with her butler who was a Vastaya. He is also often shipped with a Kali, but again, it's nothing but a random community ship. No other woman is mentioned in his lore. Shyvana is only known for having thing for Jarvan. It's still not fully confirmed though. In Arcane, Singed multiple times mentioned his daughter which could be Orianna. However, we know nothing about his wife and remember that Arcane still isn't canon, so both his daughter and wife might even be non-existent, since there is absolutely nothing about Singed loving anyone, nor having a child in the main lore. Sion used to be human, but no info about love. Nothing romantic in Siever's lore. The same goes to Skarner, Sona and Soraka. Swain is supposed to be an enemy with LeBlanc, but there is one interesting voice line.
I suppose this makes us enemies with benefits.
Who knows what that's supposed to mean? Probably only the fact that they might co-work together somehow. But it could have something into their relationship as well. But I somehow doubt that, since Swain is too old for anything romantic in my opinion. When it comes to his lore, nothing romantic is ever mentioned. Just like Kaisa, Silas never had an opportunity. The closest he has ever gotten to any woman was Lux, but there wasn't anything special. Again, Syndra was another imprisoned champion just like Silas. Plus she prefers to be most of the time alone, because of her abusive childhood. However, she somewhat sympathizes with Zed's ideology and agrees that Ionia's balance must crumble. Mainly because of their same goals, these two are shipped together very often. Moreover, Riot seemed to like the ship. Her withered rose skin has very interesting recall animation. However, despite their goals being the same, they actually never met in the lore. Tom Kench is a demon. Talia has nothing romantic in her lore. The same goes for Talon, surprisingly Tarek, Teemo and Thresh. Although Rumble has feelings for Tristana, nowhere is mentioned that she would like him as well. Not even anyone else. Trundle has nothing romantic in the lore. Tryndamere was explained alongside Ashe. No other woman he would love is mentioned. Twisted Fate used to be shipped with Evelyn, but since she is a demon, no romance is happening and as already mentioned, he is with Graves. That's all we know. Twitch. Udyr used to have lover named Kalkia, but he left to Ionia where he spent generations training to keep spirits at peace. When he returned to Freljord, he met Sejuani. Her mother was basically Udyr's lover, so this means Sejuani is probably his daughter, but nothing is confirmed yet. No other woman he would love is mentioned. No romance in Urgots, Vanes, Vigars, Vel'Koz, and Vex's lore. Varus is a Darkin, but his current body consists of two hosts, Kai and Valmar. Two male lovers who found themselves being invaded by Noxus. However, Kai got injured during the fight and Valmar tried to save him by entering the fountain, which was said that the magic there can renew what is broken. What they didn't know, is that it was the place, where Varus was imprisoned. As they jumped into the water, Varus immediately seized the opportunity and used them to create a whole new flesh for himself. V only ever loved Caitlyn. Viega only ever loved Isolde. Victor is a Sigma male. It's possible Vladimir used to have feelings for LeBlanc, but no further info is given. Also, we don't know about any romances he would be involved in, but I'm certain there was something since he is very old. Volibear is a god. As we all know, Warwick used to be a human, but we have no info about him loving any woman. Wukong has no info about any romance. Xayah is obvious. No info about loving anyone else before she met Rakan. Xerath is similar to Kaisa. He never had an opportunity because he was enslaved as a human. Xin Zhao has no info on any romance. Besides already mentioned ships and relationship with Ahri, there is no other info about anything romantic in Yasuo's lore. As already mentioned, Yone is often shipped with Lilia, but just like his half-brother, He always seemed to be completely alone, especially now when he is busy hunting Azakonis. For the rest of the champions, there isn't anything special in their lore or anything that would not be talked about in this video. This includes Yorick, Yuumi, Zac, Zed, Zeri, Ziggs, Zelene, Zoe and Zyra. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Thanks for watching and maybe see you later.